And we are live.
Yes, we are live, and we have another episode of the Sci-Fi Power Hour. This one is a little special because, well, we're talking about horror movies and or cheesy sci-fi films that were supposed to be horrifying but aren't, and we watch them now and it's like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. I can't believe that I thought this was scary.
I know one movie.
Yeah, we're also going to.
I'm just saying, I know one movie that fits in that category.
Yeah, and we're also going to talk about how the Dark Universe can get back on track. Basically, For those who don't know, the Dark Universe is Universal Studios' attempt to turn their classic horror monsters into a cinematic universe, aka kind of like Marvel with their Marvel universe. And how it's already kind of gone off the rails with The Mummy because
it flopped at the box office.
Well, not only that, it wasn't a good movie. So it flopped, but it also just was not a good movie. I mean, because there's some movies that don't make money, but it's like you watch it, it comes on cable or something. You're like, actually, this is a pretty good movie. I don't know why it didn't do well. This movie, I went to go see it. I'm like, yeah, I know why it didn't do well. So, and the last topic is going to be, oh yes, I already talked all three of them. So what horror movie, the first topic is what horror movie truly scared you? Like truly made you say, well, geez, that's creepy.
Let's see, the older horror movies that show off a lot of creepy atmospheres. And should the Twilight Zone count as a horror?
Go ahead. So there's some truly horrifying stories in Twilight Zone, so that works.
Basically, the original Twilight Zone show was what gave me true chills because I'm expecting the unexpected. With all the cinematic choreography of the tense and suspense.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you like the horror that tends to be more thought-provoking.
Yeah, like the fear that a jump scare might appear, but actually it's not.
Yeah, I remember this Twilight Zone episode where, like one of the iconic Twilight Zone episodes, old school Twilight Zone episode, is that there's this guy and he really likes to read. Like he's a banker and he really likes to read, and he accidentally gets locked in the vault. Well, while he's locked in the vault, there's a nuclear war and everyone dies, but he's safe because he was in the vault, you know. And when the vault opens, he's like, oh man, everyone's dead. And he's like, he's kind of down about it. He's like, well, you know, now I can read all I want, and like nothing's ever gonna happen. Well, I mean, this guy likes to read and he wears glasses, so he goes, like he drops this book. He goes to pick it up. His glasses fall and they break. So now he's like, it's not fair. It's not fair. Like he's like, it's kind of, you know, it's like at first you think it's kind of funny, but then you're like, wait, that would be hell right there. You know, where this guy is like, you know, but anyway, yeah, I always thought that was a pretty good episode. Yeah. I'll tell you another good horror show. Well, it had some horrifying things on it. The Outer Limits.
Oh yes, I remember that too. That one also scared. I watched one or two episodes of those. Scared me as a kid as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this was an Outer Limits or Twilight Zone episode because when I was a kid, I used to watch this on the Sci-Fi Channel like late at night or on Sundays in the middle of the day, and I'm not exactly sure which show was it because like you're a little kid, you don't know which show it was, but I mean, so don't press it to me. But there's this episode, I think it was the Twilight Zone, called "To Serve Man," where like basically these aliens come to Earth and they give this book to humanity and it says to serve man, and basically all these people start changing their lives so that they can go on this ship and go to the aliens planet But what they discover is that the book is literally a book to serve man. The aliens are eating people. Like this one guy figures out, he's like, this isn't a book to make humanity better. This is a book it's a cookbook. It's it's telling them how to make.
That was from Simpsons.
Yeah, and so like these people are getting on board the spaceship to go to the alien planet. This guy's like, don't go on the ship. It's a cookbook. It's telling you how to serve man. Like, and then you figure it out like, oh god, that's horrifying. You know?
Well, to be fair, I for one welcome our human-eating aliens because overpopulation is a problem.
Yeah. I've always said that we need to have something like a plague of like 50% of the Earth's population just needs to go. And I'm gonna be fair.
Yeah, I heard that about 3 million is supposedly the ideal number.
No. I'd say 50% of the most populous population. So people who just have tons and tons and tons and tons of children. And the only reason I say tons and tons and tons and tons of children is that like unfortunately that means that third world countries, which is sad because third world countries tend to be agrarian societies where having a large family is to a benefit because you essentially, you know, like you need someone to help grow the crops, you know, maintain the farm, grow the foods, take the food to the market. But the thing is that we grow so much food in first and second world countries that it's like if we had a more balanced world economy, these people could have less children and still have some quality of life.
Oh yeah, and I'm reminded of this one YouTube Red original movie that covers overpopulation problems, The Thinning. And let me tell you, not many people enjoy that movie because of the twist.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people claim that overpopulation is a hoax, but I mean, I don't like. Okay, I don't think the concept of overpopulation is a hoax. I think that the Earth could sustain a larger population. The problem is that we have a problem with resource management in the world. Like, we don't know how to manage our resources in a proper manner.
Yeah, that's the true issue.
You know, like, and we don't want to do the things that are necessary in order to manage our resources. Like, for example, you know, everyone's like, well, overfishing's a problem. Well, you want to know how they solve, like, there are places in the world that used to have major overfishing problems, but then they did like a 25-year moratorium on fishing in those areas, except for like local fishermen who were like, you know, fishing to eat, not for commercial purposes. And those places came back in 25, 35, 40 years. And they're better than they were before because they just stopped fishing there. So if you did like if you divided up the world into different regions, and you said, okay, no fishing for the next 10, 15 years. No fishing here. You cannot fish here unless you're doing like you're feeding yourself, no commercial fishing. You know, these areas could come back, and then you basically do it in a staggered type of way. Like this area, no fishing here for the next 10, 15 years. Next area, no fishing. You could get it taken care of over 100 years. Now, I would be dead by then. We'd all probably be dead by then, but the world will be a better place. And, you know, that's the whole, that's the whole point, to leave the world in better shape than it was earlier.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So anyway, back to horror movies.
Yeah.
And let's see, do you have a favorite horror movie?
Well, I mean, I have like 3 favorite horror movies that, like, these are movies that just like they're scary because, like, for me, I like cerebral horror, so I like the idea of what's going on more than horrifying things happening. Like the idea of what's happening is terrifying to me. So my number 3 most horrifying film is The Omen. That film is horrifying to me. Because there's not a lot of horrifying things that happen in the film. Like, yeah, a lady hangs herself and like a guy's head gets cut off, but the decapitation looks kind of stupid. But like, it's just the tension that's built up. What?
Yeah, the true horror is that the true horror of The Omen is that the fact that there could be a child who may be the son of the devil himself.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and basically all the other stuff that goes on, like Gregory Peck finding out that his son was killed and swapped out for Damien, and how he finds the corpse of his son buried with a jackal, and how he like tries to stop Damien, but he can't. You know, like I mean, like normally in most films, good triumphs over evil. In the Omen, the first film, good does not triumph over evil. As a matter of fact, you don't get a triumph over evil in the Omen until the 3rd film.
And then they ruin it on the 4th film by a rep with Damien's daughter.
Yeah, they retcon it, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, sometimes Hollywood just needs to leave stuff alone. It's like Indiana Jones was the perfect trilogy until they made Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it was like, well, all that work for nothing. You had one of the perfect trilogies, and you messed it up. You know?
Yeah.
It's like all you had to do was just, you know,
just leave it as a trilogy.
Just leave it, yeah.
Leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. Why'd you jack it up like that, you know? But
your second favorite horror?
My second favorite horror film is believe it or not, this it's called Slither.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that movie in a long time.
Yeah, with James Gunn. Yeah, I like that film because to me that film is kind of a remake of another film that came out in like 1981. It's one of those, no, like 1978, 79. It's one of those B sci-fi horror films that had practical special effects, where Slither has a lot of real. Slither has CGI, but the practical special effects are really good in it too, and it's kind of like a comedy horror, or a horror comedy, because it's more horror. It's like, you know, body transformation and messed up stuff happening.
Yeah. Comedy horrors are like the only genre of horror I'll probably tolerate watching in theaters.
Yeah. I mean, I like comedy horror just because, I mean, you can't always just have, you know, like I don't like torture porn, which is horror where it's like, oh man, that guy's foot got cut off. Isn't that grotesque? It's like, no.
Yeah. I really can't stand the gruesome scenes in horror movies.
Well, it's not so much like, it's not that I can't take it. It's just, it's like, okay, if you're gonna show me something grotesque, it needs to have a purpose to the story. You know, like, you can't just do it because isn't this gross? It's gross, isn't it? Yeah, it's gross. Look at it. It's gross, huh? It's gross. Like, no, that's not cool. You know, that's not a good way to do this. You know.
Yeah.
So.
And your number one favorite horror movie, is it The Thing?
Yes, it is. The Thing is my number one horror movie. Really? John Carpenter's The Thing?
Yeah. It's like one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
I love it. John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite horror movie for a couple of reasons, but I'm just gonna put my cards on the table. First of all, the special effects still hold up. Second of all, it's very atmospheric. Third of all, It has, like, when someone dies in the film or disappears, and I mean, when someone disappears, they probably died. When someone disappears, you really, it's like, dang, this is bad. And like, basically, it really puts you into, you're discovering what's going on as McCready does. And it has some of the best, it has jump scares, but the jump scares in the thing aren't really jump scares. You're just like, what the hell is going on? This is no way.
Yeah. And you really don't see the thing in its true form either.
No, because it has no true form. It just, oh my God. It kind of just, you never really see its true form. You never really see what it actually looks like. You just see parts of what it's devoured. And so basically you see it taking on aspects of the dogs early on in the film when they first discover it. Aside from the burnt corpses at the Denmark camp, the Danish camp, whatever. Like, it's very well done. The runner up to John Carpenter's The Thing that I would say is one of my favorite horror movies is David Cronenberg's The Fly, because that's also really scary.
That was another gruesome horror movie.
Yeah, but
especially in the last part.
Yeah, it's gruesome, but like I said, it's not that I don't like, oh man, that's effed up. That's totally effed up. It's like your disgustingness, the gruesomeness, the torture porn, the horrific body transformation. It needs to have a purpose. You can't just throw it in there. Isn't that disgusting? Turn away. It's disgusting, isn't it? So yeah, yeah. So what are your favorite horror movies?
Let's see. One of them is Gremlins, but it's a comedy horror.
Yeah, but Gremlins is a comedy horror, but there's some truly horrific things that happen in Gremlins, like that mean old lady getting launched out the window.
Yeah.
It's like, she's dead. She ain't gonna be in the sequel. You know, she's completely dead. Like, those Gremlins killed her.
And the way Gremlins are killed from the sunlight.
Yeah, sunlight, electricity, water. I mean, The Gremlins is a very good film. It is very good.
And then my other one is the Friday the 13th series.
Really?
Because I truly understand how Jason feels.
What, people picking on him and
yeah, and he wants to kill teenagers.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's every adult who has to deal with teenagers. Like, as you get older, like when you're a kid and your parents are like, you know what, I'm controlling myself right now, and then you get old enough to deal with teenagers, and you're like, I totally get it. Like, why didn't my parents just knock the hell out of me all the time? I'm surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. And for my number one, has to go with The Thing as well.
Oh, we crossed the streams. Well, I can understand why, because John Carpenter's The Thing is really good, and it's so much better than the original.
Yeah, the original adaptation of The Thing is from the 1950s.
Yeah, for the 1950s, it's a fine film, but it really doesn't hold up.
Take a dive pretty early.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of movies in those days didn't hold up as well in today's media.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, there are 50s films that have special effects and creature features that do hold up, like almost all of Ray Harryhausen's stuff. Like, it came from beneath the sea, or it came from outer space, or the Valley of Gwangi. like practical special effects done well, but I mean, the Howard Hawks film from the 50s is basically Frankenstein in the Antarctic. It's like, come on, man.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Frankenstein, it is my runner-up for my favorite horror movie franchise.
Which Frankenstein? Because there's a lot of them. The original, where he's like, "It's alive! It's alive!"
Well, the original Boris Karloff version.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because I also read the original novel by Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
And I also feel the pain of Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, I do like the monster. Actually, I feel more like you think that the monster is terrible, but you feel more for the monster than you do for Frankenstein. Or should we call him Frankenstein?
I love that movie.
I think we should call him. He's like, so you're Dr. Frankenstein. No, it's Frederick Frankenstein. Are you sure? I'm absolutely. It's always been Frederick Frankenstein. Oh, okay. Then you must be Igor. No, it's Igor. It's like, really? Yes, it's always been that way. He's like, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I can fix that hump for you. What hump? That is a very, like, anything from Mel Brooks from 1960 something all the way up to 1993, 94 is pretty good. The only bad Mel Brooks film I have to say is maybe Dracula Dead and Loving It, but that's not his fault.
Right. So yeah, I really wish that today's horror movies brought back literal monsters rather than human serial killers, because the monsters are the true definition of horror.
I mean, I get the idea. They're like, okay, the true monster is humans. Like, the thing that gets on my nerves is them always trying to humanize. They're like, well, you know, we're gonna do a vampire film. The vampires are the victims. No. Okay? If you're going to do a vampire film, I want to see vampires being vampires, killing people, running off with a baby. I want to see horrific things happen. Okay? And this is a nice segue because this goes into into our next topic, which is how can the dark universe get back on track? Speaking of people trying to turn villains into heroes, so earlier this year, Universal tried to get their dark universe off the ground, and needless to say, it jumped off the ground and went off a railing and fell to its death.
Yeah.
So how could we fix this?
Let's see. They could have kickstart the Dark Universe by making a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie. I mean, there hasn't been one in the longest in decades even. And I've been looking forward to see if they're going to make a modern adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
That could work. I could see that.
Because I've also read the book, and it's one of my favorites as well.
It's very good. It's a very good book. I don't know. How can I put this? I agree with you that they should have started it with a different monster instead of the Mummy. I think they kind of made a mistake making the Mummy Sophia Boutella very attractive, because the whole point of a movie monster is that you don't want to have sex with them. That it's supposed to be this monster is terrifying.
Yeah, because I felt like getting a boner from looking at that mummy.
Yeah, I'm like Tom Cruise is like, no. I'm like, why are you running away from this hot mummy chick? It'd be like, hey, look, man, look, the world is doomed anyway, so I might as well go out with a bang, But yes, the double pun was intended. So no, if personally, I think if they want to get the Dark Universe on track, they need to start with the most popular Universal movie monster. The most popular movie monster is Dracula. So they should do a Dracula film. Okay? And not
like Dracula Untold?
Yes, but not like Dracula Untold. See, Dracula Untold tried to turn Dracula into this sympathetic, oh my God, he's, you know, you should feel sorry for him. No. This Dracula film, in my opinion, would be set in modern day. Okay? Dracula, like, it starts with, like, there was a legend, and Dracula appeared, and then he was defeated, and he disappeared, and no one found him. But there were other vampires, right? And now we're in modern day where you have, you know, these sparkly Edward Cullen-esque monsters. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Twilight Saga.
Those Twilight-like vampires, right? And, you know, they think that they rule the night, that they, you know, this is their world and everything just serves them. What they don't realize that Dracula's very much, he's woken up and he's pissed. He's killing the vampires that he thinks are inadequate to the bloodline. So we get to see something we've always wanted: a real vampire killing these fake Twilight sparkly vampires. That would be worth it. That would be totally worth it. That movie would have made tons of money because you could have had the classic tall, dark, with his cape thing going on. You could even kind of make a joke about it. Like Dracula wakes up and he feeds off of some security guard and kills him because he's hungry. And he walks around in his classical Universal outfit, and someone's like, what are you doing, man? It's not Halloween. Like, how are you gonna be dressed like that? He's like, I always wear things like these. he's like, hey man, you need some better threads. You could make this guy Dracula's new Renfield, trying to help him get adapted to the modern age. You know, maybe Dracula, you know, Dracula is like a masterclass vampire. So sunlight, you know, that whole sunlight thing doesn't do shit for him except make him weaker. But he's not, oh, sunlight, I'm dead.
Yeah. The Twilight Saga made vampires not cool again, and it wasn't until the first part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures that made vampires cool again.
That's what I'm saying. Just bring back the classical, scary, I will kill you and rip your face off and rip your heart out. Bring back that. You could have, like, I even thought of a story. The Dark Universe, they want all of these monsters to connect. Here's your connection, okay? It turns out that every, you know, few hundred years, 1,000 years, whatever, there's this event. And something tries to enter our world from the other side. And this dark energy creates monsters on our side. But that's like a byproduct. It's not the purpose of this dark energy. It's to create a rift so that whatever on the other side can devour our world. And the monsters that come about actually try to, you know, they inadvertently close these rifts while killing a lot of innocent people. But, you know, hey, man, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And so basically, like, they could explain, well, you know, the mummy occurred in like 233 BC because this event happened, and, you know, yeah, this guy also, was mummified and all that stuff, but this is why this guy was mummified, you know. And you could have Dracula be the Samuel L. Jackson of your Dark Universe, him going around recruiting the other monsters. But you get his movie out of the way first, okay? You get his movie out the way because he's the most popular Universal monster. The second one, I think you should do Frankenstein, just because, you know.
Yeah, according to the news, the Frankenstein movie is supposedly part of the Dark Universe.
Yeah, it's the Bride of Frankenstein. But I'm like, how are you gonna do the Bride of Frankenstein without doing Frankenstein first? That makes no sense. It's like, hey man, we're gonna do a Venom movie, but it's not connected to Spider-Man.
Oh,
Really?
that's what they're doing right now. Which is what Sony is doing right now.
We're gonna do a Brainiac film, but there's no Superman. What the fudge?
And they're gonna do a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie without Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. But yeah, so I mean, basically, in my opinion, I think that would get it back on track. I think that would do it. I think that would really kind of bring everything together. Because they want to create their universe, yeah, but take it seriously. Because here's the thing: Universal's like, well, we had a connected universe before anyone else. Yeah, you did, but it was like the reason that you did connected films with your monsters is because the individual films weren't making enough money. Like at first it went from like Dracula and Frankenstein and the Mummy and stuff like that, and then it went from that to like Dracula versus Frankenstein with the Wolfman was in it too. It's like, what the hell are you doing here? And,
yeah, that started in the 40s where they started crossover with each other.
Yeah, and then it hit rock bottom with Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, and it had Dracula and the Wolfman. Like, come on, man, don't do that. I mean, even though I do like the Wolfman because I like Lon Chaney Jr. because he always has this look like he has this haunted look like I need to find a way. Poor Lawrence Talbot. He can't catch a break.
And Lon Chaney Jr. also played as the other mummies in the sequels.
Yeah, which is sad. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. Lon Chaney Jr. was never as good as his father.
Yeah,
because that guy is the original. Lon Chaney, if you've ever seen him in The Hunchback of Notre Dame or The Phantom of the Opera.
I've seen The Phantom of the Opera, the Lon Chaney version.
Or The Clown That Laughs. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Lon Chaney was a beast in turn with practical special effects. So, and makeup. But yeah, in my opinion, I think that would make a better. I think that could really help the quote unquote dark universe. Yeah. Because it hasn't really gotten better because it just keeps on getting more convoluted. They're like, well, we need to push this back. No, because the Mummy was a piece of garbage. Because I mean, first of all, like I'm gonna. Here's the sad thing. The Alex Kurtzman helmed new Mummy movie was worse than the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie from the 90s.
And that movie was never meant to be horror at all. More action-based like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but there were some horrifying concepts of it. Like when that guy gets eaten by the scarabs and then it digs under his skin. That was kind of horrifying. Amenhotep basically going around devouring people with his plagues and sandstorms and stuff. That was actually pretty terrifying. And I know that it was also meant to be more Indiana Jones than horror, but I mean that's the thing. The Mummy was never meant to really be horror anyway. The Mummy was more of like, okay, this guy has come back to life to basically find his long lost love. It just he happens to be in the wrong time, and his long lost love is reincarnated in someone else's girlfriend. That's sad. I mean, it's really the Mummy. The original Mummy with Boris Karloff is more of a love story than it is, oh my God, an unrequited love story than it is, oh my God, this is horrifying. Because I mean, really, what does he do in the original film? He just strangles a few people, kidnaps a girl, and he's gonna reawaken her soul. That's basically because he wants to be with his long lost love. I'm like, I don't really find that to be particularly horrifying.
It's the same plot with the 2017 version, except the genders are reversed.
The genders are reversed, and it has Tom Cruise in it, and Tom Cruise made that film worse. Tom Cruise did not help that film.
Yeah, there's a saying that Tom Cruise was the reason why that movie was horrible. His executive meddling.
Well, I think that Tom Cruise made it worse. I think Alex Kurtzman was a terrible director for that film. I think that the script was bad. I think they should have stuck to the original, even without the gender swap. They should have stuck to the original, and stopped it because the film made no sense from a technical standpoint. It's like, okay, these people are soldiers. They're robbing tombs. They should be court-martialed. That's ultra illegal. And why is an Egyptian mummy in Iraq? I don't get that. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't mummies supposed to take place in Egypt?
You would think. You would think, wouldn't you? You would think, wouldn't you? It's like the movie made no sense. Clearly, this movie was made for the Chinese audience, for the worldwide audience, and the worldwide audience was like, we aren't falling for this bullshit, and they didn't fall for it because they were smart. They were smart enough to be like, no, we ain't believing that shit.
And I'm surprised that movie made it to China because China has a very strict rule of not including movies that feature the supernatural.
Well, here, let me check it because I could be wrong, and I don't want to give false information to people. So, The Mummy, 2017 film. Oh God, that piece of garbage. Okay, no, it only opened in the United States, and its budget was 125 to 195 billion. So it didn't. So basically, it was a flop because basically they spent roughly 200 million on the actual film, and then you have to factor in another 50 to 75 million on advertisement. So let's just say 300 million once all was said and done, and it made 409.1 million. So basically, they needed that movie to make at least $1 billion.
And they didn't.
Yeah, it made half of that. It made less than half of that. So yeah, it
was a flop.
Yeah, it was basically a flop. So yeah, I can't say I feel bad because it was not a good movie. That movie did not deserve to make a lot of money because it was ill-conceived. It was badly done. Like they lost people in because literally I have never seen a film because I had to review that film. I have never seen a film where I sat down and a film lost that film lost the audience faster than anything I've ever seen. Like, because it opens, it says Universal, and then the Universal globe spins around and says Dark Universe. And literally, I heard someone like two rows behind me to my right go, "Fuck you!" Like,
yeah, I heard that.
That's how quickly that movie lost the audience.
And since the Invisible Man is gonna be part of the Dark Universe, how is an Invisible Man horror related?
Well, not just that, but why? I mean, all he can do is be invisible. Like that's it. Okay, the Mummy is essentially immortal. You can't shoot her. You can't shoot her. She's immortal. She's made out of sand. She can make plagues and shit come around. That's cool. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. The way they present it in the film, he basically is a more sadistic version of himself. Frankenstein's monster is, he's got superhuman strength, so I can understand why that'd be cool. The Wolfman, he's the Wolfman. He turned into a giant wolf. That's pretty badass. Phantom of the Opera, what is he gonna do? Play the fucking piano? Play my theme music. Dun, 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 dun. What the hell? And the Invisible Man. But he's like, okay, we gear up, team. The Invisible Man starts pulling off his fucking clothes because, you know, he can't be invisible while wearing his clothes, unwrapping that shit around his head. What the fuck? Seriously. Seriously, what the fuck? That's just stupid.
And I'm reminded of another Invisible Man movie called Hollow Man. You've heard of it, right?
Yes, I have. But at least Hollow Man was kind of scary because Kevin Bacon as the Invisible Man, like he tries to rape a woman, that's scary. He kills some people, that's pretty scary too. But I mean, you know, like what the hell are you supposed to do? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yes. And of course, the creature of Black Lagoon is also supposed to appear in the Dark Universe.
Okay. Like, what is it gonna be like? I'm the ultimate diver. What's he gonna? What's he gonna fucking do? He's like, look, man.
So he's basically the Aquaman.
Look, if you drop your keys in the pool, I can get it. What the fuck? I'm sorry. This is Universal. Please get your shit together. like they're like we're gonna do a Frankenstein's Bride movie, but not do a Frankenstein movie. The fuck? We're gonna do Son of Kong, but how are you gonna do Son of Kong with no King Kong? That makes no sense. It doesn't need to make any sense, damn it. Why?
With all this laughter, we should move on to the next topic.
Yes, our final topic is none other than one that's near and dear to my heart, and it is. Here, let me. Thing keeps on popping up. All these. What cheesy sci-fi films are really bad? Like, we know they're bad. There's no excuse for them. We know that this film is terrible. This film is basically the deep-fried jalapeno poppers filled with pimento cheese with bacon bits, with full-fat cream cheese, fried and large. But it's so delicious, we watch it anyway. So what cheesy sci-fi film would you tell people, you gotta watch this? It's terrible, but you gotta watch it.
Let's see. Would Jurassic World count?
It's a terrible sci-fi film, but I think that Jurassic World is a little too, how can I put this?
Intense?
Well, no, it's a little too new. Right?
Is that fresh?
I mean, it came out last year, didn't it?
It came out in 2015.
Oh, okay, the year before last. I mean, that's still kind of new for. I mean, look, listen. We can all agree that Jurassic World is not a good film. Okay.
Not good compared to the original. That's obvious.
And
nothing can beat the original.
We can also agree that if you look at it logically, like, okay, I know everyone's trying to build cinematic universes these days. We're gonna build a Jurassic World. We're gonna be a Jurassic Park cinematic universe. Okay, fair. Why are you ignoring your own rules of your cinematic universe? Did anyone listen to Ian Malcolm? Life finds a way.
That's the continuity.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna build, the first rule of building a cinematic universe is that you have to follow your own
rules.
Yeah, you have to follow your own rules. You can't just make stuff up just because it's convenient. You have to follow your own rules. And they don't even follow their own rule because think about it. Jurassic World takes place in the same universe as Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Does it make any sense for them to do any of the stuff they did in Jurassic World after the events of Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3? I mean, just from a practical standpoint. I mean, like, okay, yeah, I have it going on in the background, but I'm not really paying much attention to it because, I mean, I don't like watching people play video games. Like, I'd rather be playing it myself. But I can understand why some people would enjoy it. But
in case you're wondering, I
mean, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's okay because think about it. In the first film, the two creatures that were the most dangerous creatures in Jurassic Park. Well, three. You had the
they were carnivores, basically.
They were all carnivores. You got the T-Rex, you got the Velociraptors, and you got the Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, you have the Dilophosaurus, you have the T-Rex, and the Raptors. In the second film, it was the T-Rex. In the third film, you had the Raptors. Okay, those were the most dangerous things in that film were the Raptors. Okay, so in Jurassic World, does it make any damn sense to take the two creatures that they've shown in Jurassic Park, like the series thus far? You cannot control Raptors. You cannot control T-Rexes. You can't.
That was the main theme for Jurassic World, being able to control the Raptors, like training them.
But they couldn't. That's the thing. They couldn't control the Raptors.
But in the end, the last surviving Raptors was able to obey.
Well, I see. That's the thing. I don't really think that was the Raptor obeying. I think that was the Raptor and the T-Rex realizing, look, we don't like each other, but this new bitch is here, and we can't have her taking over our shit. So let's team up, take her out, feed her to the Mosasaurus, and we'll be okay. That's basically what happens. And then the T-Rex is like, look, and even at the end of the film, the T-Rex gets on top of her thing, and she the old battle-scarred T-Rex, and she gets to have her triumphant roar. Like, the end of the film's like, yes, you cannot, it reaffirms what we learned in the first film. You cannot, look, Ian Malcolm said it, life finds a way. Life finds a way.
Don't mess with Mother Nature. She'll screw you over.
And that's being used for the upcoming Fallen Kingdom.
That's all I'm saying. Like, that's my point. Is that Jurassic World, when you really think about it, it's enjoyable, but it is a really stupid film. It's stupid. I mean,
it's popcorn fodder.
It's fun to watch, but in terms of being thought-provoking, it is dumb as hell. They needed Ian Malcolm. Although I am happy that Fallen Kingdom is going to have Ian Malcolm there. I'm going to enjoy seeing him say, "I told you so." Life finds a way. That's a big pile of shit. Ian Malcolm returns just to say, "I told you so." They need to get Grant there too. I told you. Just having the old people. I told you not to do this. And you can have Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt was cool, but he added fucking nothing to that film. Like, he was just there. It's like, I'm Chris Pratt. Okay, what are you adding to this film? Not a goddamn thing. But I'm Chris Pratt.
That movie.
I think
continue.
No, I think they were just like, hey man, he played Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's put Chris Pratt in here. I mean, I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but like literally Chris Pratt added nothing to that movie. Not Guardians of the Galaxy, Jurassic World.
I'm thinking that's just cheese.
Well, not just that. I mean, he added nothing to it.
I should mention a horror movie that terrified me as a kid, but now I'm a grown adult. I find it cheesy, which is Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah, that film when I saw it as a kid was a little like, oh, this is really dark. But now that I watch it that I'm older, I just enjoy seeing a young Christina Ricci. Because I was like, wow, Wednesday Addams grew up.
Because when I first stumbled upon the movie, I thought it was going to be a live action version of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, like from the Disney version.
Yeah.
Because that was because I love that short. But then I realized it was nothing like the original story.
No, it's more of a
it was more like a Hammer Studios version of Sleepy Hollow.
Well, yeah, it's more like, okay, here's what happened. The film to me feels like, okay, here's this is what happened 30 years after the events of the original Sleepy Hollow. Like, if the original Sleepy Hollow took place in like 1860, this is what happened in 1890. Right? And I mean, I thought the film was pretty good. I mean, the special effects haven't aged the best, but I mean, it's Tim Burton. It's Tim Burton at his best, you know.
Yeah.
And he proves that, like, Tim Burton plus Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp at that time was magic. And that was good all the way up to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Or sorry, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because that film was terrible. And then he followed it up with Dark Shadows, also terrible. Dark Shadows. I actually saw both of those films in the movie theater because I believed in the power of Tim Burton, but not anymore.
It's not bad, but he's getting on in age.
You also left out. Oh yeah, and you also left out the live-action Alice in Wonderland movie.
You know,
also has
that movie wasn't good, but if you view it as just not being related to Alice in Wonderland at all, it's not terrible. It's a fantasy.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing as well. Like, if you don't connect it to the original Alice in Wonderland, then the movie is actually enjoyable.
Yeah. As long as you're not expecting it to be connected to the original Alice in Wonderland, it's fine. But literally, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was terrible. It was like, oh my God, Tim.
It was the same reason you saw the 1998 Godzilla movie, where if you ignore the fact that this is a Godzilla movie, then it's actually a pretty enjoyable, cheesy monster movie.
It's okay. I won't say it's enjoyable. It's okay. Like, I hesitate to say it's good because good denotes that it's quality, and there's nothing quality about that 98 Godzilla film except for the fact that well, there is no quality. It's terrible. It's a steaming pile of caca. I know I'm a grown man. I just said caca, but it's caca.
That's a fancy word for dung.
Yeah. Caca, poo-poo, dookie, feces, bovine technology.
So, Joel, what cheesy sci-fi film did you watch that was really bad but you really loved?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. This is the sci. I'm gonna be hurt if I'm one. It was one of the Star Trek movies. I think it was the 1990s one.
Is it one of the odd numbered? Is it one of the odd numbered Star Trek movies? Because according to these Star Trek fan base, the even numbered Star Trek movies are the best ones, whereas the odd ones are not so good.
I think it's the third.
Oh, Search for Spock.
That's a horror movie? I mean, that's a cheesy sci-fi movie to you? I didn't know that.
I was saying that's a cheesy.
It is kind of cheesy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of.
Though for Halloween movies, I'm just saying I probably will wait until the 13th since I heard that Happy Death Day might be a good one. I said might.
Happy Death Day. Well, okay. I guess I'll give mine. The cheesy sci-fi movie that I liked from when I was a kid, that it's really cheesy, but I just enjoy it even now. The Last Starfighter. I like The Last Starfighter.
Oh, is it that 80s sci-fi movie that was using outdated CGI?
Hey man, I would tell you that CGI was on par with Star Fox for the SNES, my friend. That was top of the line graphics at the time. I'm being facetious.
Hey, considering what was cutting edge at that age, it's hard to the guy some slack.
Here's what I'll say about The Last Starfighter. It doesn't have the best graphics, although some of the practical special effects with like the creature effects are pretty good. Like it's like TV good, not like movie
Box office good.
Yeah, but it has a cool theme song. It has interesting characters. It has some really good special effects, practical special effects, not the ship battles. And it has some of the cheesiest but enjoyable dialogue in the film that I've seen in a sci-fi film. The only film that kind of approaches it is maybe Arena, which is this film about it's about this space station where they show this event, this sporting event, where two people from different species fight in the arena, and it's not supposed to be to the death. It's until someone's either out of the ring or knocked out. But there's been deaths because some people use steroids and stuff like that. And essentially, the interesting thing about Arena is that it stars some people who would go on to be in sci-fi TV shows, like the guy who was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and a lady who eventually wound up being in Babylon 5 was in it. It's very interesting, and it's cheesy. It's terrible, but whenever it comes on TV, I watch it. I'm like, this is terrible, but I love it.
It's good cheese, right?
Yes. It's cheesy but enjoyable, which is what you want. You don't want non-enjoyable cheesiness.
I was about to say, you don't want limber mozzarella.
Well, I mean, funky cheese can be good, but when you eat cheese, you want it to be kind of, you want it to be enjoyable.
Yeah. And sorry about the cheese comparison. I'm feeling like Peter.
You want good cheese, not bad cheese. But yeah, that's those are the cheesy movies. So, you guys give any of your anything you want to pimp out, anything you want to shot, and then we'll wrap things up. And
I have something to pimp out. Since this is a horror-themed sci-fi podcast, next week, Splatfest, vampires versus werewolves.
Seriously?
Yep.
Dang, I'm gonna have to be in that one.
I think
it starts on Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
Oh, how unlucky.
I'm definitely gonna have to be on that one.
Friday the 13th is the day when Jason Voorhees comes and kill us all if we step on a mirror or go under a ladder.
Well, if Paramount were smart, they would have released a Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Right now,
Friday the 13th movie.
I'm debating whether or not I should go with Team Vampire because of Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or Team Werewolf because of Holo from Spice and Wolf.
Yeah. Pick one, go with it. Yeah. It is what it is.
I was about to say, pick your poison.
Yeah, pick
because one is an attractive man, the other is an attractive woman who can transform into a wolf.
Yeah, but she's not really a werewolf. She turns into a giant wolf.
Fair enough. Then I'll go with Team Vampire then.
Okay, fair enough.
The werewolves are cheap. I mean, werewolves are the better stuff to me. Blame, what is it? Those,
Twilight ruined vampires for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's hoping that the Splatfest makes vampires and werewolves cool again.
Twilight ruined vampires for me with with Edward Cullen and the Sparkling Vampires. That was like vampires will never be cool to me again. So Jewel, you have anything to pimp out?
To be honest, I'm trying to make a BL1 of Monster Hunter Story. And
Okay,
this is one of the few rare times I'm actually supporting Cap because I honestly bought this.
Well, you're supporting Nintendo because Nintendo had to publish it because Capcom would even put the money to publish it. But they can put money to publish that shit on the PS4, couldn't they? That's neither here nor there. This is Sci-Fi Power Hour, not BS Busters.
Yeah, but this is the end card, so
Yeah.
this is a
So
that's about it.
So I guess I'm the last one, so I'll close it out. This is me, Miss Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. You've watched the Sci-Fi Power Hour, and this time it was just an hour. So yeah, congratulations. We stayed true to our timetable. Stay tuned to tomorrow's BS Busters, but also stay tuned to what's going to happen in about an hour after this. Dr. Feelgood will be having a podcast about the Nintendo World Championship. I will probably not be able to give that much to it because I'm watching it sporadically, if at all. But I mean, we're talking about some other cool topics like here. Let me. I don't want to get it wrong, so let me look at the topic.
This may take a bit, ladies and gentlemen.
So he's going to be talking about unused functionality, waifus, and he's going to have some question that comes from left field that's going to be weird, but I'm going to do it anyway because why the hell not?
I'm looking forward to the waifu topic.
Some of us can't stand waifus, some of them love them. I just don't care either way. But that's the end of this.
I'm mixed with husbandos.
Oh, there you go.
Remember, I'm a girl.
Yes, we know you're a lady. For those who are interested, leave questions you may have about for our October 13th Questionathon next week, not this week, next week, in the comment section for questions that you can ask. I might do put something on the Discus, on my Discus thing, so that you can leave questions for the Questionathon, so that
Learn how to use that.
Yes. I'll leave a link in the description for that. So you guys can look at that, and peace out.